Good evening, everybody. This is Bulldozer Investing. Today is January 26, 2021. It is 10:41 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. Recording is a little late today due to my personal schedule. So I'll try to make this quick and we'll cover as many names as we need to and we'll complete today's review. So let's go ahead and start with VIX. So I'm just going to do a 3 months chart here. Maybe let's do 6 months. And let's change the time axis. Okay, looks much better now. As predicted yesterday, today this is a daily chart. I did say that there would be a chance for VIX to hit the 50% moving up. So it did. I do think VIX is going to get much higher. Now, VIX is going to get lower in the next couple of days due to Apple, Facebook earnings, and Tesla. Now, I'm assuming that if all those come out well, VIX could easily test the 22, so around 2261 level. Okay, let's look at VIX in hourly. Okay, so this is pretty much a bullish run on VIX. I don't see VIX coming down much, so it might come and support, like I said, like maybe 241. This is the hourly. But on the hourly, what I do see is this is a, so I would watch. I'm probably going to go cash on Friday. I might cash out on Friday because I do think I'm expecting VIX to spike for some reason. I'm not sensing, so I'm not, and this is going to be news related, so I wouldn't even be surprised if VIX comes here as well on the shorter term. Okay, so let's take a look and see how VIX reacts, but I don't see, so the current resistance for VIX is 2374. If it breaks about, it's going to rip higher. However, the earnings are going to be profit taking. If you notice Microsoft, I didn't go into Microsoft earnings and I sold it right after, and it came down. So I don't know if earnings are going to hold or not. So I do have Apple, Facebook, and Tesla for earnings, but I am willing to sell them after hours if they do report good. However, I am going to show NASDAQ chart today as well. So after SPY, let's go to SPY first. SPY is basically playing out this ascending triangle. So as you can see, we have higher lows and it's coming off perfectly here. Now, I'm assuming that now SPY, I don't know how much it carries, Microsoft, the percentage of Microsoft, Apple, Tesla, and so forth. I think it's going to carry it out, hit maybe to 384. Maximum upside is 385 here. It's a good resistance. So let's go ahead and draw that. I don't usually look at SPY anymore, honestly. Before, SPY used to represent the market. Now the market moves really differently. And I'm playing like different names that are not really attached to SPY. So I know we used to, look at the market as if it's only SPY, but now a lot of lower caps, low caps, mid caps, and even the short squeezes are happening in the market, which I'm going to explain, and which we have been saying for last week. And I said, some people had complained about, you're reviewing technical things, but you're not covering Apple, Facebook, Tesla, Amazon. And I said, market is not made up of them. Yeah, surely they weigh a lot to the market, but right now the game has changed a little. Okay, so we'll cover that shortly, but I do think this is a nice support area for SPY, and I do see it coming back to 384 and maybe 385. That would be a sell point. If it breaks above, then we could go as high as 387s. Okay, So that's SPY, and let's look at the NASDAQ futures. So what I do think, this is the reason why I don't think the market is going to crash soon. I still think we have a month or two, maybe around March, because this pitchfork has been a pretty good trend line for NASDAQ, and I do see NASDAQ ripping higher towards this area. Now, I didn't draw a fib or anything. This is just a rough sketch. If NASDAQ hits 14.5, or I mean, it doesn't matter how fast it climbs up, but if we get near, 14,500s, I think that's when you cash out. If you want to short, you can short, because this midline is pretty much where you want to short, as you saw this crash happening like this, right? So, and then we've been moving, slowly around the resistance line of the bottom channel, and now we're clearly breaking it above. If Apple, Tesla, and Facebook goes higher, and we have the Amazon and all the other tech names earnings, and it just moves higher, I'd say the market top would be somewhere here. Now, I don't want to call it a market top, but I would say like a correction top, okay, not like a crash top. Okay. So we'll see what happens, but NASDAQ is up 0.47, so that's good. SPY is down. I think Dow is down. Dow has been beaten down. So those stocks are going to be the stocks that I'm going to watch in the next coming weeks. And I think when the tech goes down, they're going to go up. So there's going to be a brief rotation on that. All right, let's go ahead and review the names that I've saved up. So Apple, I'm going to review Apple very quickly because we've been saying Apple. So I think it's just flagging here. And we might see it come down a little bit tomorrow and then just shoot up towards 150, just like how Microsoft did. So on Apple, again, I'm bullish long term, I'm bullish short term. It looks bullish. Don't worry about these candles, because I think tomorrow we're going to hit this bottom trend line, or the fib. Okay, so 150, I think I see it coming. Okay. Facebook, very strong. Look, and when we draw these trend lines, I don't know when back I did this, but it's not a coincidence that we kind of topped today and closed down lower. So I don't know what the after hours show. After hours shows 286. So 286 is again right on this trend, right above it. So what I see is if Facebook manages to break 287, I think easily after the earnings it's going to be 296. And I've been saying this when we were here, right? I was pretty bearish, and I said things look bearish. We've broken down. It just went down, and I said if we double bottom from here, if you get Facebook calls for earnings, you can play the lottos for 300. And I said that right here, right? I don't think they're lottos anymore. They're probably expensive. I wouldn't go in, So this is what usually happens during the earnings. They shoot it up after hours, and then they bring it down in the morning, and option people who purchase the options they just ate away the premium. So I wouldn't recommend playing options on earnings. If you have cash, fine. I didn't buy much of Facebook, and again, our account is limited anyways. It's not like we have 100,000, 100K, 200K on the account. As we mentioned so many times before, we started with 10K and we were going down, so we had to average it. So I put like 4.9K. Let's just flat it out and say 5. So total, we started with 15, and currently we have like 31 something. So with 31 something, you're splitting up into 3, Facebook, Apple, and Tesla. Our account is going to be evenly balanced with that, okay? So speaking of Tesla, let's review Tesla and see what would be the upside for Tesla. And remember, I drew this pennant some time ago, maybe last week, right? And I said Tesla is going to be on a bullish run if it rips. And I always say this to my followers, that, and this isn't advice, it's a technical advice, that the first breakouts are always usually false. So you want to wait for a couple of days, and then you buy the bottom, right? So the bottom was perfectly here. You see this bottom, okay? So that would have been, if I said like if it broke down, then that would have broken down. So this was pretty protective. So it got up, and it got above the 9-day moving average. I went in and out for Tesla for quick profits, but I made a lot more on other names, so I got back in Tesla. I see that tomorrow, well, from what we've done from this right here, so this bottom, top, and bottom, we were expecting 949, 921. Now, $40, $50 on 900 is not much at all. So let's take a look at that. So let's assume Tesla's, it's actually 887 after hours, right? So about 5% move, 5.6. So I'd say like if Tesla moves 5.6% after hours after the earnings, that'll be like 950 area, which would be our target anyways from this breakout. If they earn like if they make like a crazy earnings and like do, whatever, they pull their magic, we could go all the way up to 1038, which could follow up on Tesla. So let's see the last earnings, right? So the last earnings, it didn't, let's see. Yeah, on the earnings, Tesla really don't do much. So, I mean, look at all the earnings, right? We look at the earnings from what? April, didn't do much. What is this, like a year? Yeah, 1 year. So on last year of January, they did do a good job. So what happened was from 117, they went all the way to 190. So that's a huge run. So after earnings, it didn't do right after, but it just picked up after a couple of weeks. April didn't do much. July went down actually, and then October earnings again moved 1 or 2%. So this earning, what do we expect? I'd say like the max upside is 949. I don't think Tesla is an earnings play. I think I might sell my shares tomorrow for quick bucks again, and I'm probably going to go into Fubo, and I'll take a look at other names, but I think Fubo is one of the names. I was in, I got out, I'd probably get in again. Lost 7% after hours, which kind of frustrated me. Lost some profit on that. But anyways, so we're reviewing Tesla, so I have to talk about Tesla. In the long run, Tesla can go up to all the way up to 1182. Okay, but on the earnings, if you're playing this for the earnings, I think it's due for a surprise because I don't see like really surprise 10-15% moves on any of the past year on the earnings, besides the last January. But it just like if we get a momentum like that, we could easily hit 1182. But I'm not saying it's going to go to 1182 after hours earnings. Okay, so we'll see what happens. But again, you want to also like know how the stock moves on the earning days, and you want to take a look at the previous earnings, right? So I don't see much action from Tesla, and let's just hope that it moves up a little. So at least 950 would be my target. This was a request, KN. I have no clue what KN is. Now's Corp. It looks like, so what it looks like is, if you see here, there's a huge gap, right? What it did is it got in the gap, fell down, and it just went in the gap, broke out of that gap. Let's take a look at the weekly. I just want to make sure that since I don't know the name, I don't know. I mean, if you're playing this for the earnings, what is it? February 1st. I don't know if this is like a good earnings play because it, I see the last 4 earnings were pretty bad. Besides October picked up. I don't know. This chart doesn't excite me, but if you're a long-term holder, I can tell you this. And again, when I say this chart doesn't excite me, if you're emotionally in the stock, don't get me wrong. It's just that when I look at the charts, some charts like Fubo, Corsair, Lazar, like Luminar, they just excite me because I see that bullish patterns. Here, the max upside is 2163. I'm not saying it's just, I'm just saying that I wouldn't, it's nice that it broke out of that gap on the daily chart. So 1 year daily chart, I see a huge gap. It's nice that it broke. It could retest 1935, which is a 9-day moving average. However, if you're holding it and you think it's bullish, I'd tell you that the 100% fib line is 2163. SunPower, I wanted to review this name because of the short squeezes that are coming up. If you were to look at this chart and say you want to invest in it, I would say you're crazy because it just went up so much, right? But this is the deal. So I had FUBO, but this is the deal. SunPower has 53% short and 49% institutional ownership and only 80.9 million shares on float. Basically shares available to be traded in the market. Okay. Now, why you would see these moves is, yeah, Biden news, clean energy and stuff like that, but there's also a lot of shorts. So if you look here, right, this is a nice cup and handle. So let's go ahead and draw that really quick. For those non-technical people who are trying to learn technicals, I'll just briefly show you what that is. Let's customize this. I think this is medium. Okay, that's good. So if you clearly see this cup and handle, okay, and once it broke out, it had a clean run. Okay, very clean run. Now, in case of any crash, this thing can come down to 35 within minutes. Well, not minutes. I just said it like sarcastically, but something like this, right? So it broke down and it went down to this moving day average within 2 days. So it could very well, if something goes wrong, let's say if this goes up, the moving day average, it could hit $35 on a heartbeat. However, given the fact that there's 53% short, and right now there's a motive of squeezing shorts in the market, so all the shorts are scared. Where do I see this going? Okay. Now the daily chart, it doesn't tell me too much. Let's take a look at the at least 4 hours. Let's take a look at 4 hours. I mean, the daily could tell me something, right? That wasn't my point, but I don't know if this extension would work anyways. Oh, let's do this. Very rough sketch, guys. I know I could do better, but this could go well $61. Okay. This could really go all the way up to $61. Now, I could do a better accurate sketch on this, better accurate, let's do this actually. Yeah, when you do that, it just makes a lot of difference. I have to like really work on it, but roughly speaking, 65. Okay. I have to like zoom in and make the chart better and so forth. Let's take a look here. What is the low here? 27.5. What is the low here? 24.26. Close enough. All right. So let's take a look where our target is 64.50. So let's round it to 65. So this can very well, with the short squeeze, it could go to $65. Okay. Next stock is requested stock, CLII. Well, I think the chart looks good, guys. I don't know who requested this. The 4 hours chart looked good. Let's go back to daily. The daily, the daily is just topping out. I like the 4 hours. I like this flag. Let's take a look at the hour chart. Yeah, this looks even more So let's take a look. I mean, first of all, this went up, right? You just whoever asked me this is your risk analysis. This is your due diligence. I don't know anything about the company. I don't even know what this is, but the technicals are telling me, and it's a nice support on the 9-day moving average on the hourly. it could hit 27 to 29 area. If this has like a short squeeze, the internals look also good. The MACD is coming back over across, so it's crossed and it started with the green bars. Stochastics is picking up, RSI is building here. So everything on this chart tells me good. Again, this is not my recommendation. This is not something I picked. It was a request, okay? But for the request, I just charted you, and the daily, of course, looks very risky, okay? But on the hourly, so this would be a short swing. On the hourly and the 4 hours chart, you can, so some charts you have to play around and go to 4 hours, 1 hour to read something. Daily, I couldn't honestly read anything off of it. I wanted to point out NNDM because this is a name that we've been also covering, and on the daily, it needs to come down back to 14.8, at least to this top trend. And if it does come down to 13.47, I'll be I'll be buying it. Let's take a look at the 4 hours chart. Now the 4 hours chart, even though it looks like, what is it? What did it come down to? 1582. So the 14.8 was established today actually, and it pretty much bounced off very well. Now remember what I've been saying, if you have the moving averages going through a bearish crossover and you get to pick up a little, you got to sell it there. So the sell point here is like 1654. Right now, the MACD is bearish, Stochastics is bearish, RSI is still overbought, it looks okay, but let's see how this happens. But I'd like to pick up this name around 13 bucks, especially on the daily. It's more distinctive right here, 1278. Again, a lot of people might complain. I said that I'm bullish on this chart due to its weekly. Okay, you see it came down, broke out of the Ichimoku cloud. This is going to go, and I have a long target for this 45 to 55. I'm not saying it could happen, in 2 days, but overall, we're bullish on it. It's just that we have to act technical. So although I see a very nice support, a very technical support on this fib line of 14.8, so as you can see, and the 20-day moving average. However, I don't like the MACD stochastics, and also the averages are crossing down, so it's on a bearish term. Don't jump into the bounces. Eventually, it's going to come down. The cloud top support was there today, but I think that if you want to get in this name, if you have the name, you can hold it, right? But if you want to get in, I think $13 is a good range. Again, don't forget, overall, we're super bullish on it, and I think it's going to go to 45 to 55 eventually. But for now, if you're doing a swing trading, then you gotta be careful and make sure you get in at the right time. Next stock is Bxrx. It's a nice looking chart. It's also it is a biotech, or I'm assuming it's a biotech, but it's probably a bio name, okay? Now, it's definitely on the 4 hours, it definitely looks nice, but I want to first see the daily. Yeah, see how the story changes when you see charts in different time frames? Basically, what happened here is it hit the 100-day moving average, and it's getting supported by the 9-day moving average. So I believe it's going to test the cloud top, which is around $1.94. And that's a pretty good percentage from $1.41 to $1.94. That's a pretty good percentage. However, if you are looking for a long-term opportunity for this, there's a huge gap to be filled. So basically what it did here is it tried that gap, bounced back, 9-day moving average. So it's probably going to try 176 again. The cloud top is another resistance, and eventually it could go. I'm not saying it will. Now pick up my words very carefully. Technically, it can go and fill this gap all the way up to 261. Now again, I don't know what the company does. I don't know what's in their pipeline. I don't know why it went down in the first place. So these are all questions that you'd have to do your own research on. So this was basically a request, right? So I say that if this comes to 239, that would be even, well, good enough, because this, trend line coming down here that I just draw. I just think that the company just keeps on failing, obviously, as you can see in the chart, but why not fill the gap around 259? Again, this is not an advice from me. I would have to do a lot of research on the company to even take a position on this one. A lot of selling going on as well. So yeah, it went up. It went up with okay volume, but the sell volume was okay as well. So take your own risk on this one. I'd say this would be a lotto. I don't know anything about the company. Blink this is what I wanted to show you guys. Now, remember when we talked about Blink, and I think it's going to go higher. That's one thing for sure. Remember when we talked about Blink, we drew the chart, it scared me a bit. It lost its 20-day moving average and it was struggling to get above, and it hit the 9-day moving average. Our box was kind of like, it broke down our box, which was scary, but it got saved. Like you see, like it got bought in, so it tried to be inside this box. Now my target was 61.8, and I think what's happening is technically it would have stopped there, right? So technically what happened is that because of the GameStop squeezes, short squeezes, I think people are getting into these names and just squeezing out people. I don't know. I think Blink had a pretty high percentage of shorts as well. Yeah, 31%, only 27 million. So that's why it got squeezed out. And we touched the midline. Now, every time we get here, right, so the next day we might cross over and hit the top of the yellow box, and it needs to relax. It needs to come down a bit for the next one. And that next run is definitely going to be near $77. Okay. I can do the 4 hours really quick. Yeah, the 4 hours looks bullish too. This might not even, I'm not sure, like if you get a pullback on this name, now a lot of people get scared, but when we draw these boxes, right, and you're like, okay, he drew the boxes, and then when it comes down there, people are, scared. They're like, oh, even though he drew the box, what if it goes down more? Well, first of all, my boxes, you don't have to buy them. This is just technical analysis. But usually these work out pretty good. Now, if we somehow hit tomorrow within here, the 65 range, I would probably be a seller, so somewhere around like 66, and wait for it to pull back a bit, and then I'd go in for the 77. I don't know why I drew this box here for some reason, but okay, there you go. So these are our targets, and they always hit. You guys know that. Both going up, both going down. But you just have to do your own risk analysis, own timing. I can't expect, so I mean, I put these charts out on Twitter, so you just go ahead and try to do this as a roadmap, and try to do your own analysis and pick your targets. I don't usually put where I bought things, or I don't usually like to say I've gotten this call to pump up anything. I just I don't even do options a lot. I only do options if I think there is a point to it. I don't want to get into options trading. That's a whole different level, guys. Options aren't as easy as, oh, it's going up, so let's buy it. You have to check in a lot of different things here, right? Volatility, volume index, and all these little gammas and deltas and all these things. So, but people are playing options like they're playing lotto. So I mean, it works, it works. If it doesn't, you blow out, you come back again. But that's not the purpose of the channel. So I'm not telling you that, oh, it's going to hit 77, so go rush in and get March, or Feb 1977s. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, yeah, it could go up all the way to 66 right here, and it could pull back for the next run. So as you can see, once it hits the mid channel, it goes all the way. What scared me was even this bottom line at the bottom of the channel didn't hold. last time it did pretty good, right? So we'll see what happens, but 77 would be my long-term target. And we have BNGO. I'm out in the name today only to play earnings for tomorrow. However, this is a stock that you want to just buy and forget and don't look at it. You want to buy an amount that you would forget, because if you put your whole entire portfolio, you're going to look at it every 2 seconds. Okay. So right now it seems like the bottom is 1178. It has established. I wouldn't be surprised if this comes down to 1044, which was the bottom that we bought last time. So that's why I pretty much sold it, because I didn't care. I got it at 1044, 1048. So if it sees 1060s, 1040s, I would probably buy back in. I'm not saying that it's going to drop. I believe the stock can easily go to 1953. Okay, easily, with a single news. This is a stock where it can jump 30% a day. Okay, so just again, do your own due diligence and analysis, research their products and everything else. But this name has a momentum, and you always wanna. I always buy the dips on this. I don't know this why. I never use a daily, so let's take a look at the hourly. Yeah, I see why. Because I drew the hourly pitchfork here. Okay. Yeah, let's reanalyze our pitchfork again. So again, I think I'm going to reanalyze, because I thought I did the 4 hours, but it seems like I did the hourly chart. Why did this pitchfork move? Let me undo it. What is the high on this one? Is 995, right on it. Okay, so there you go. Okay, so I would say 1216 has to support. If it doesn't, it's going to come down as low as 1145. The lowest point I see here is 1050s. Okay, 1050s would be a buying opportunity, I believe, for the next run. So and as you can see, our Fibonacci was spot on, well, a couple cents off, but next target is $16 and eventually 1953. We'll see how that goes, but again, I'm off the name. It doesn't mean that I won't come back into it. It doesn't mean that just because I'm off it's going to drop. It might just pick up and go test $14 and $16 the next week. I'm going to buy back. It's just that I got off of it because I needed the money to play the earnings, like Microsoft today. Okay. All right. And then AYRO we mentioned yesterday, and it hit our target. That was a quick one. So remember I said that as soon as it breaks this 9-day moving average, we're going to the moon. Well, I mean, we're not going to the moon like GameStop, but bam, I mean, that was a quick dollar. I said I got it off of here, somewhere around here at like high 680, 689, something like that. And bam. Now, did I sell it at $8? No. I mean, unfortunately, I didn't follow this extension. What I did do is I sold this candle at 775, something like that, right around here. Now, after I sold it, it came back, and it even went further, so it went to 1815. Now, it closed the day a little higher than what I sold for. So, can this name go further? Yeah, I just don't know the company. I just picked this because I like the chart, and I think it had a bullish run. If it returns back to 730s or low 7s, it's a nice dip to buy, and it could go as high as 928 and eventually 1124. I just didn't do some due diligence like I did on BNGO. I researched them a lot. I need to research this company and what they're doing, but I just like the chart and made quick money off of it. Okay, so that's all, and that's all I gotta. Fubo. Let me take a look at Fubo. So reason why Fubo picked up, and I was kind of pissed off. Sorry for the language, but